Good to see you for another session. Welcome to Roofing Product Knowledge. We've talked about the anatomy of roofing. We've talked about some sales processes, and now we're going to get to the heart of exactly what we're doing and how we're going to be waterproofing our customers' home. So this is a product demonstration on our roofing system. We can imagine this as the structure of a roof. We know that right here is the decking, the fascia or eaves, and then we've got rakes and fascia on the side too. So we're going to kind of be using this as our model to demonstrate exactly what and how we build this roof. First and foremost, we're going to be using throughout the company primarily two different brands of shingles. They are GAF and Owens Corning. In GAF, we're going to be using two of their line primarily. That's going to be the GAF Timberline HDZ and the GAF Timberline Natural Shadow. We see some literature on exactly different components, different warranties, different material grades. This is all based on all of the structures you're going to see here, different performance levels of each of those. So that's how you're going to get variance in both pricing and warranties. This is going to be specific to your market. So, check with your leadership on exactly which products you're going to be selling. The other brand would be Owens Corning. So primarily two, GAF. This is the second one, Owens Corning. And we're going to stick with one of their lines, and that is the duration shingle. With the Owens Corning shingle, you've got their platinum warranty, and with GAF Timberline HDZ, you've got their golden pledge warranty. We will get more into that in the warranty section, but they are identical as far as a selling point and ultimately a pricing point, depending again on your market. So what we have done here is strip our roof all the way down to the wood decking. There are things that you can do with roofs, and there's probably 1,000 things you can do with roofs that are wrong and about a couple that are right. So over here, we see what we have called a layover. So this is taking, instead of stripping this down all the way to the wood, we would take the existing structure and just put new shingles on top of that. You can imagine shingles are very, very heavy. They're made of stone and tar. So we've got now double the weight, double the pressure, and you've taken essentially, a wet, heavy material that's already failing, and then you're sealing that in. And all along, we've learned the importance of ventilation, making sure that this structure right here, the decking, no matter what it is, whether it's plywood or oriented strand board, OSB, or whether it's planks, we want to keep that completely dry. So layovers are not the way to go. Stripping it down all the way to the bare decking, that is the only way we are going to properly address a replacement roof. So it doesn't really matter what the code is in the area. Sometimes they do allow for 2 layers, but best practices, again, are always going to be to strip it, so that's what we do. So pricing is included all the way down to the wood decking. So we have seen the anatomy of the roof. Now we're going to break that anatomy down one section even further and kind of see exactly how we build that. We have seen ridge cap shingles. We know that the top right here is the ridge. These are ridge cap shingles. They are able to bend just like that and not break over the ridge. These are specific to each brand. So GAF has a certain amount of linear feet you get from a bundle of ridge shingles. Owens Corning has a certain number of linear feet you get per bundle of ridge shingles. So again, there might be a little variance to how much we install, but essentially that does just that. Whether we are installing a ridge vent or not, this shingle will be bent over the top of that. Secondary component is just under that, as we just showed you, was attic ventilation. Again, in an ideal world, on a gabled roof, you've got a large ridge end right here. You've got a soffit intake under here. This structure, along with about a 2-inch hole on the top of your roof, will bend over just like that and offer ventilation. Okay? Shingle, after that, bends just like that. So that's how that's covered up. Remaining exposure is a very clean, almost invisible line just about an inch above the roof line. Rooftop accessories, we've talked about, in a perfect world, we've got a gabled roof with nothing stopping it. We've got clear lines from here to here and here to here, and we just don't have that in the field, right? We've got things popping out of it. We've got dormers, chimneys, skylights, Lord knows whatever. We've got protrusion points or interruptions in the surface. So rooftop accessories, one of the most common ones is the piping boot, right? The soil stack piping boot. Any way you call it, it is the pipe that vents sewer gas from the home, so we need to seal that. And one of those components is the GAF pipe boot. After that, we've got shingles. So we are going to be using GAF Timberline HDZ architectural shingles. You will have a color booklet that highlights their available colors. This will, again, kind of vary slightly between region, but the architectural shingle, just like that. We've got fiberglass embedded tar paper that is then essentially covered in hot tar, sprinkled with stone. I like to, when I'm presenting a shingle, let everyone know this is a very simple product, right? We've got fiberglass embedded felt paper, that's it. Hot tar, stones, simple product. Paper, tar, stones, but we keep it very waterproof. Shingles, and then that goes into starter strips. So these are starter strips. I'll show you when we build the roof in a second what a starter strip is, but in other roofing applications where you're not using an architectural shingle, maybe an old 3-tab shingle, instead of using a starter strip, which goes along the edges here and along the edges here, it's a specific product used to bring those systems together. Roof decking protection, a couple of different brand names that GAF might be using for this. This happens to be an Owens Corning brand name. So again, it might vary per region exactly what type of underlayment you're going to use. You are going to be using a synthetic underlayment. So we are no longer using felt paper. This is a waterproof and vapor permeable underlayment. Leak barriers. Last on here, and then first when we build the deck. So this is ice and water barrier, okay? This is going to come in a large 3-foot roll. And we are going to make a pass, and we're going to measure that pass based on the exterior wall. So we are going to measure 2 feet. In our scenario here, this wall, on the outside of this wall, is the outside of the environment. We're going to take a 2-foot measurement, so that's right here. We're going to take an invisible line and pretend we go directly through the ceiling. And that will look exactly like this. In this scenario right here, this is the exterior wall. We're going to measure 2 feet and make a line straight up. That is how much ice and water barrier in northern climates where it's required. Again, that's probably something we should emphasize, that this is for colder climates where we are preventing the damage that ice dams could have on the decking. So that, again, is a 3-foot wide roll, and in colder climates, in conditioned areas, ice and water barrier is installed anywhere from 3 feet to 4.5 feet to 6 feet, depending on, again, 2 feet and an imaginary line straight up to the roof, okay? Secondary component, an ice and water barrier, as we described, again, in all conditions, whether it's southern or northern conditions, is going to be in the valleys. So we're going to make sure that that product is bent and secures where 2 valleys meet. Any protrusions, any interruptions, anywhere there's a skylight, anywhere there's a roof wall intersection, anywhere there's an interruption in the roof, ice and water barrier is going to be installed. Second layer is we've got our synthetic roofing material. This is an underlayment. Again, waterproof, vapor, permeable. We are going to secure this with cap nails. Those are nails that are covered with a plastic cap that prevents water from going into it, because now we are going to be mechanically securing this to the decking. This is everywhere throughout the roof with a slight overlap over the ice and water barrier. Oftentimes customers will ask, can we just get ice and water barrier throughout the whole roof? I don't mind if we can pay for it. In that particular situation, more is actually less because, again, we want this decking to be able to breathe to a certain extent. We are drafting air in from underneath the soffit. We are taking a long, exhaustive process to make sure that that air can then leave. So making sure that this decking can breathe is paramount. So more ice and water barrier, it does not actually equate to more. Then we go back to our starter strip. So this has a chemical adhesion on both sides, tar, and a strip that is activated by a chemical heat. And now we have begun to marry these systems together. This is then nailed in, and we have now covered the ice and water barrier and the underlayment. This will also go on any edges here. This is to prevent the wind from gripping the shingle and lifting it up on either the edge or the end, just like that. After that, we secure everything with the final shingle. This tar strip marries this tar strip. Now that is secure with that. Nails along the nail strip. And then we've got our ridge vent that we put on top there. Hip and ridge shingles cover that. Edge metals, again, depending on your market and where you're going to be covering, edge metals are either one, this is ODE or drip edge, two, a gutter apron. Both function as the same purpose. They are forcing water off the edge of the structure, either onto the fascia or into the gutters. In the case of a gutter apron, of course, this would go under the edge right here. Again, depending on what application, sometimes under the ice and water, sometimes over, wherever you're going to be able to access this, and again, depending on the situation, that is going to be your edge metal. And then same with the drip edge. This will go on the side, just like this, again, ideally under the ice and water barrier, and we have a variety of colors. So this will then, again, act like trim or an accessory. So just beyond the understanding of how to translate exactly what we are going to be selling, how this system comes together, and then how all of this is then tied into the importance of everything from keeping the water away to making sure that there's proper ventilation. This system then has simplified a process that can seem overwhelming to the homeowner. Now they've got a viewpoint of everything that's going to be on their roof. These are all non-negotiables. We don't offer 2 or 3 versions of this or 2 or 3 versions of this. This is the system, this is what you need, and it's all then well explained in the contract as you're going through the paperwork. They will be able to see exactly what you are demonstrating. So I want to say good luck on the next session. Hopefully this was informative, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.